Good morning, Year 5 and 6. Your SPaG lesson for today, whilst you're learning at home, is on sentence structures. We'll go through all three sentence structures in the hope that we will see them in your non-chronological report that you will be writing for your post-write at the end of this week. So let's start off really simple, which is well named. Our first is a simple sentence. In other words, we can just refer to it as a main clause. As you should see, every single simple sentence will have a subject, a verb, and an object. So let's have a look at some examples. So Anglo-Saxons grew their own food. You can see that the subject is the Anglo-Saxons because that is the main thing that we are talking about. The verb is grew because that's what they did. That's our doing word. So we know that the Anglo-Saxons grew. And then the object is their own food. So the subject is the main part of the sentence, the verb is what they are doing or what it is doing, and then the object is that thing. Let's have a look at some more. So houses were often made from natural materials. You can see your subject, verb, and object there. And then the main language spoken was known as Old English. So there's lots of different ways to do it. It's not always as obvious as you think, but just think in your head, right, have I got a subject? Yes, the main language. Have I got a verb? Spoken, fab. Have I got an object? Yes, Old English. So there is your simple sentence. It makes complete sense all by itself. Compound sentences then is just two main clauses, so our simple sentences, put together with a coordinating conjunction. Now, I've got an example here. So we've got our two main clauses. The first one, Anglo-Saxons grew their own food. Our next main clause, they mainly lived on farms. Two main clauses, two simple sentences. However, I'm going to push them together using a coordinating conjunction. Anglo-Saxons grew their own food, so they mainly lived on farms. I wonder if you can spot the coordinating conjunction in my compound sentence. Did you spot it? Let's have a look and see if you're right. So our coordinating conjunctions, you all know, we call them fanboys, don't we? Pause this video and see if you can write in the coordinating conjunction for each of the letters in fanboys. Maybe just give yourself 1 minute, maybe 2, and see how many you can get. Did you get them? So you can see that so was the coordinating conjunction that I used in my sentence in the example a couple of slides back. So I used so, but you can use for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So what I would like you to do is have a look at the three simple sentences that I showed you before. And just like I did, I added another simple sentence and combined them with a coordinating conjunction with a fanboy to make a compound sentence. Pause the video here, see if you can make these simple sentences into your own compound sentence. Remember that they are two main clauses, so therefore the second clause that you include must make sense on its own. Have a go now. Finally, hopefully you've managed to put those compound sentences together. Super job if you have. Have another go if you're not still quite sure. Look back at the earlier slides on this video if you're not quite sure. We'll move on to the final sentence type, which is complex sentences. So just like compound sentences, we start with a main clause with a simple sentence, and then we add a subordinating conjunction followed by a subordinating clause. Now, a subordinating clause is a clause that doesn't necessarily make sense on its own. Just have a look at the example that I've put down here. So I've put Anglo-Saxons grew their own food. Main clause. That makes sense all by itself. Lovely. However, my next sentence that you can see, that was their only option. That that doesn't really make sense completely on its own. If you just saw that sentence written on a piece of paper on your desk, you wouldn't be able to understand what that was on about. It doesn't make sense on its own. That's why it's called a subordinating clause. So what do? We can put the subordinating clause together with our main clause with a subordinating conjunction. So have a look at the next example below. It says Anglo-Saxons grew their own food since that was their only option. Now that to me makes a lot more sense. Can you spot the subordinating conjunction in that sentence? Maybe write it down on a scrap piece of paper, or if you've got a SPaG book with you, write that down and circle or highlight the subordinating conjunction in that sentence. So again, like we had fanboys for coordinating conjunctions, we have I saw a wabbob for subordinating conjunctions. So just like before, I've been sneaky, I've covered up the conjunctions. I wonder if you can remember what each one is in I saw a wabbob. Pause the video again, take a couple of minutes and write them all down in front of you. How many did you get? Have a little look. There's some, it's a bit tricky. They might be in slightly different order because we've got a few W's and a few A's and a few B's. However, so long as you've got them, that's the main thing. So let's have a look. I is if, S is since, A is as, W is when, A is although, W is while, we've got another A which is after, B for before, U for until, and again B for because. I used since in my first sentence, can you remember? Hopefully you spotted that before. So those are our I saw a wabobs, and they are our subordinating conjunctions. We use them in our complex sentences to match a main clause with a subordinating clause. We put it all together. So the same thing as before as you did with your compound sentences. Here's my original simple sentences. I would like you, just like I did in my example, to stick on the end of one of my simple sentences a subordinating conjunction followed by a subordinating clause. So can you remember I said Anglo-Saxons grew their own food since that was their only option. So that was the one that I did. I wonder if you can do a few more. Again, pause this video, have a really good think, because you can use these in your post-writes and your mid-writes when we're writing our non-chronological report. So it's worth having a go now and really spending some time thinking up some really, really good sentences, some super sentences to put in your post-write. Okie dokie. Hopefully you've got lots and lots of beautiful compound sentences and complex sentences. Maybe you've even thought up of some of your own simple sentences as well. Now it's time for you to try the activity that you have in your work packs. You've all got emailed some work packs. So have a go at the sentence structure activity that's in there. Once you've finished, there's some instructions in that work pack. Follow those to make sure that you can send it back to Miss Pugh and I, because we are going to have a little read through what you've done, and hopefully we'll be seeing lots and lots of lovely things in there. So enjoy, and we will see you soon.